Hello guys, this is Danny with ParTay's. So today we're going to talk a little bit about our technology. Now you can see there's a really shiny panel right there in the center of the screen, and I'm going to explain what that is. So this is what we consider the core, and you can see the reflector project off the vinyl from the other screen behind it. So that's with the projector light right there in the center, and you can see it's not spotting, it's just extremely bright. I can move in on it, you can see it's really not spotting, but it is super bright to the point it looks washed out in the camera because there's so much light coming off of it. So once again, let me explain what we're talking about here. So this is just an old piece of aluminum. Back whenever I was first starting, I'd started trying to do some transparent paints over the top of aluminum to see if I could get something really reflective and shiny. And you did, but it was not a very good image whatsoever. And no matter what efforts we took, now you could very simply take a piece of aluminum and do the right level of additives and actually get a very nice surface. It doesn't offer much in the way of contrast unless you add some tone to those additives, but I digress. So what you're looking at here is a panel that has 3 layers on it right now. Okay, 3 of 5 layers that we use on our long and short throw, not our ultra short throw, different animal altogether, but our long and short throw projection screens. What those layers are essentially 2 of those layers are hybrid mixes of powder coatings that are UV cured. They offer excellent brightness, they offer excellent adhesion, and that's another key concept. I've seen a lot of videos out there where people are spraying paint, even gloppy looking paint, but they're spraying paint on the top of acrylic or vinyl or what you would consider plexiglass. And I'm telling you guys, what I've never seen them mention is that you need to use a bonding agent. If you don't use a bonding agent, that is eventually going to peel off. Don't believe me? Look it up for yourself. You can find that out all over the internet. And they can tell you all day long that it's indoor, outdoor, that it's weatherproof, but you take it out in the rain, leave it out there for a little while and see what happens. That paint is just going to peel off in big strips. So be careful of that kind of stuff. But this is cured. It's bonded to the substrate. And this is what our tone would then go over. And when I say tone, the color of the screen is going to go over this in transparent layers, so that you get the image that you're looking for, the contrast that you're looking for, the brightness that you're looking for, whatever it may be, right? It's going to be there, and behind it is this ultra reflective surface. Now, we had to be very careful when we were fabricating the surface, because if you go too bright, let's say you use a chrome powder, what essentially happens is that you end up getting a very narrow viewing cone. It becomes super bright, approaches something like a 1.7 to 1.8 gain, but becomes so bright that your viewing angle is very narrow, probably somewhere in the 40 to 60 degrees. And once you get off center from there, you hit your half gain and it just goes way downhill from there. So we had to be very particular when we were mixing our hybrid powders to come up with a mixture that would give a good balance of reflectivity, but also give a good balance of viewing no matter which angle that you're at. You would get the same experience from 90 degrees off center, or at least, say 80 degrees off center, because if you're 90 degrees, you're looking at it straight from the side of the surface. But let's just say you're 80 degrees off center, you're going to get the same viewing experience for the most part that people in the front are. And that's what we crafted, okay? Add to that, then, that we go over with the tones. What you have is that we are essentially doing in liquid form what your high-end screen companies are doing in film form. They use films that perform the same things, that are bonded together, and that's how you get the images that they have, right? And when you see these ALR screens, what you notice is they don't have light just hanging all over them. If you have ceiling lights or recess lighting above the screen, you don't see all that just kind of cascading down the front of the screen. So when you see screens that have light cascading on them from above all over, and that is not ambient light rejecting. Essentially, all it could be is a balance of diffusion and absorption. So either the screen is absorbing a lot of that light, and all screens, even a mirror, absorbs light. So those screens are generally going to absorb some of that light, and then they're going to diffuse it. And there's a number of different scatter patterns for light, and we have focused in on specific scatter patterns. That's the reason we have different hues, 2 layers of hues that go over the top, because in the diffusion in those, we want to scatter the light in different angles. Okay, so there's a standard scatter pattern, which just sort of takes the light and throws it broadly across a whole screen. That works for small, for front end light or some incidental light that would be coming from the front of the screen. But it doesn't really help a whole lot whenever you get side light. So really what you want to do is you want to contain the primary core of light that's hitting the screen in a small spot, small space. And then any incidental light outside of that, you want to scatter across the screen because you want it to stay. Now, that's only going to carry you so far. But I would remind people that, whenever Screen Innovations was doing their screens, one of their ads, he comes out with a light meter and he shows you that it's 23-foot candles. And that's essentially about 250 lux that they did their display in. And I would remind people that the videos that I put out yesterday, one of them actually showed the low end of the lux on that screen was in the 600s. So we're almost 2.5 times what they were showing in there. And this is natural sunlight, not just ceiling light coming from above that was hitting a particular spot on the wall. So we don't shy away from showing you what the real ugly can look like and how they perform in real ugly. We can always bring it back into rooms where you're going to get about 200 lux, 250 lux, 300 lux, which is even very bright for most homes. 300 lux would be a very bright room. So our screens perform phenomenally in those kind of lighting environments, but they're designed to be able, at least the ALF forms are designed to be able to perform in ambient light environments way beyond that, double the 300. You saw yesterday one of them was up to 900, and that was on the silver screen, and you could still see the image. It was washed out, but you can still see the image. If you draw that back to about a 700 to a 600 lux, the image would look very nice compared to any standard screen. So essentially, that is the technology. And I'm going to show you here real quick. I'm going to take off. Now, that was a 2500 lumen projector setting 9.5 feet away. This projector now is just a little window effects unit, 23 lumens from 9.5 feet away. And I'm going to hit the light. I'm going to open the windows here, have it kind of cast down. I'm going to open front facing here, tilt it towards the screen, and while it's dim, you can still see from 9.5 feet away in that light 23 lumen projection. Okay, now if I take that away, cap that, let's go back to our original, then I'll show you here what we're able to do here. But once again, this is not a projection screen. I want to make sure people understand this is the core. This is what goes back behind the projection screen to add the reflectivity. That is where our technology, and it's not the full technology because the top 2 layers really make the difference. So hopefully this answers some questions. If you have any further, feel free to reach out to us in the email below.